My name is Mike Jaffe, and I am a human wake-up call. And one of the things I like to do is look around at the world and at the experiences that I've had and try to get as much of the wisdom and the learning and the nuance as possible from all of those things around me. And you live with an urgency that people don't live when they're earlier, when they're younger. So what if you were able to go back 5 years ago and do things differently? What would you do differently? But what if you had that same opportunity to rewrite your future? We live like we have endless tomorrows. But let me tell you something. None of us in this room do. Not a single one of us. And one day I found myself sitting in this corporate job. And listen, corporate jobs are great. There's a lot of benefit there. Remember benefit and cost. There's a lot of benefit there. For me, the cost was that I wasn't being accountable for my life at that point. I was being a victim. And I was commuting back and forth from my house to my office, and it was 2 hours each way. 2 hours each way. 4 hours a day to get to and from a job. That for me was, at that time, a job. It wasn't that meaningful, but it was what I needed to do at the time, and I was limited by what I thought was possible at the time. And my daughter was very young, so I'd leave in the morning, and she'd be sleeping. Come home at night, she'd be sleeping. And I would very rarely get to see her during the week. And I realized this is not the kind of father, this is not the kind of life I want, or I want to be. But what can I do? I'm responsible for taking care of my family. I can't just stop working. I can't just stop. But I knew I had to do something. I knew it. And I was sitting outside this one afternoon thinking, what can I do? What's one small step I can take? And I realized, what if I had breakfast with my family the next morning? What if I just took a later train, had breakfast, and I get to spend 20 minutes with them? Not a lot, 20 minutes, not a life-changing decision. Remember, little things count. So I was going to make sure that the next morning I was going to have breakfast with my family, have a little 20-minute breakfast, go on the next train, be at work, no problem. And as soon as I made that decision, that's when my life changed. Because I took control. Because I took control. I took accountability. I'm the one who made that decision, and now it's my responsibility to live up to my commitments to myself. And the whole rest of the day, I felt bulletproof. I went back to my work, and I enjoyed the whole rest of the day. I wasn't doing anything differently, but I felt like the whole world had shifted. It wasn't what I was doing, it was who I was being. That's what had changed. And I felt great. And I told my wife about our plans, and I went home, and the next morning I woke up at my normal time, put on my clothes, and my wife came out, she saw me. She said, I thought we were going to have breakfast. But I had gotten up out of habit, I was ready to go. And at the time, she was driving me back and forth through the train. Well, once again, that's when my mind started acting up, saying, well, can you be late? You're going to get in trouble. She's really young. She's not even going to know that we're having breakfast. What's the point? You can do it anytime. Just go to work. Make your train. But then I had a moment of truth. And I thought, no. No, that's what I do all the time. How is this ever going to change until I own it? And I said, you know what? The whole point of the morning was to have breakfast together. So let's have breakfast together. So let's have breakfast together. So we sat down, had a nice little breakfast. It was a beautiful day. I had just moved out from the city. I remember seeing the squirrels running around. I was looking at my young family. I was so excited. I was so thrilled. It was a moment of appreciation. You ever have those moments of appreciation just when you're really looking around at what's around you, really focusing on that positive space, what's there, not what's missing, but what is really, truly there? That was one of those moments for me. And I got on the train, and I'm looking around, I'm smiling ear to ear, I'm looking around at all these grumpy people that have been beaten down, cranky, unhappy, feeling trapped. And here I am, this ball of smile, this bright light, I'm sure looking very out of place. It didn't matter. And I get into New York City, and I'm still on the subway when the first plane crashes into the World Trade Center, hitting my floor, crashing into my desk and pretty much destroying my team and everything that I was working with. That morning I decided to have breakfast. Happened to be 9/11.